Thanks for this info. I have yellow balls of fat in my stool after Qenda, week 3 now. Is this a good sign of detox or is my gallbladder finished? Oh dear. Also dealing with bloating and constipation, which can get pretty painful. Yeah, bloating is the worst, Max. Especially when you've got a bit of inflammation as your body's healing and stuff, or if your body's like even before the Qenda, when you have trapped wind and inflammation, it can hurt. Yeah, and the best thing, Maximilian, like I recommended to someone before, do colonic massage. Follow your large intestine round from the bottom right to the bottom right of your ribs, along the bottom of your rib cage, down here, up towards your belly button, and then back down on the right hand side. That is the flow of your large intestine. And what you can do, you can really dig your knuckles in, and if you find anywhere that really hurts, that's very likely a place where you've got some trapped wind. And what you can do, you can massage it, and it really does hurt to dig your knuckles into it, but when you move it along, yeah, you won't be in so much pain. It's normally just getting it along, getting the gas moving, and that'll obviously help with the constipation. Another thing I recommend for constipation is a toilet stool, and then of course make sure you're adequately hydrated as well, especially when you're having the Qenda, because you're having more fibre. You need to have more water to compensate with that, and the water that you mix with the Qenda doesn't count to your daily intake of water. So you said you're getting yellow balls of fat in your stool after Qenda on week 3. So first question is, are you on a high fat diet? Um, I was actually getting some yellow balls in my stool that was floating. I was like, "What the hell is this? This is some sort of weird parasite." And then, um, and then I realised it's because I was getting collagen, and instead of putting two tablespoons of collagen, like they said, I was just pouring a packet in, having to get an extra protein. And what that was doing, that was clumping up with the milk that I was mixing it in and going to like balls. So, firstly, make sure you're not making that mistake, like having far too much protein powder. It could be when you're saying yellow balls of fat, if you're sure that it's fat, obviously check if your diet's high in fat. If your diet's really high in fat, it could be that your bowels, when you're having that meal, if you're having a high fat meal straight after Qenda, it could be that it's going through your system quite quickly and not getting digested. And also, it could be a liver fluke. Liver flukes can look like yellow balls when it comes out, and like look at pictures of liver flukes and see if it is that. Like go on Google Images and type in liver fluke, and then also if you're not totally sure it's fat, you're not having a high fat diet, it could also be tapeworm as well. If you type tapeworm into Google Images, you'll see that it's all little segments of yeah, loads of yellow segments all together. And when a tapeworm dies off, them segments come out. Just they look like little yellow balls. Like people say, it looks like sweet corn coming out, and that's because it's all the segments of the tapeworm breaking up and coming out. So it might not actually be balls of fat. It could be obviously if you're on a high fat diet, it's very likely going to be balls of fat if you're dripping everything in butter, and maybe you just need to back off on the fats for now, because obviously the liver, the Qenda's got bitter herbs in there, your intestines are flowing. Let me just see if you said anything else. Yeah, just week 3. You didn't say how many bowel movements you're having. So yeah, if your intestines are flowing and the bitter herbs are cleansing the liver, it might just be a bit much for your digestive system to be on a really high fat diet. I know when people go like carnivore, they just nail the fat, and that can be too much for people's livers and gallbladder. So if you are on a really high fat diet and you're seeing bits of fat coming out in the stool, obviously lower your fat in your diet, or at least make sure you chew it properly. Um, yeah, and that will help. And also make sure that you're not drinking after meals. If you're drinking a lot of water after meals, you can actually water down your digestive enzymes in your stomach. So that will obviously mean that you're not going to break down the fat in the stomachs and the small intestine, etc. So yeah, I'm chucking a lot of variables at you there, Max. But yeah, if you're on a high fat diet, it could be very much you're having far too much fat in your diet, and you need to back it off. Um, if it's big lumps of fat, you probably might need to chew your food. Um, but yeah, also look at pictures of liver fluke and tapeworm and see if it looks like the segments of the tapeworm or if it's liver fluke, because it could even be the liver fluke coming out. So yeah, like I said, squat, toilet stool, raise your knees up so you're in natural squatting position, colonic massage, and make sure you're adequately hydrated. And make sure you're mixing the Qenda and enough water as well. What I see some people do, they get their 300 ml of water or 400 ml of water, put 2 scoops in, drink it, and then they don't wash it down with anything. So what you want to be doing is have that 350 to 400 ml of water, and then have the remainder to get it up to six. So have another 300 to for 350 ml of water. Um, Basically, just double up your water, so it's 650 to 800 ml total. Because if you're not having enough water with the Qenda, instead of it being the basically the reason why you have 650 to 800 ml of water is that's the right amount of water to mix with the Qenda to make that jelly like consistency that can go through your system. So if you're having the 20-gram serving, nearly 2 scoop serving of Qenda and not mixing it enough water, that can also slow stuff down because obviously it's not loose enough and lubricated enough to go through the system. So also make sure that you're mixing it with a further 350 to 400 ml of water. So it's 650 to 800 ml total. And yeah, cool name, Maximilian, and hopefully that helps.